Hey, this is Chris Creekmore, Creekmore Realty Group at the coast of North Carolina. We are so excited to have you join us on this webinar. And this webinar is all about pricing your house, getting your house priced right. So whether you're in New Jersey or Alabama, this webinar is giving you some strategies and some insight knowledge as to how to keep your realtor on track, if should that need to be, to get your house sold. So I'm joined tonight also by several of my team agents that are with me tonight. So we'll be asking them a few questions along the way, just to kind of do a little bit of housekeeping, or just to let you know how this flows a little bit. You have a Q&A box. That Q&A box should be towards the bottom of your screen. When you toggle around where you're seeing the webinar, you should be able to open up a Q&A box. The way webinars work, unfortunately, we don't have the chat box that will work, but the Q&A box works. Everybody's microphone is muted by default, but if you raise your hand, which there is a little button down in the below where you can, it's called reaction. And if you raise your hand, I'll certainly open up your mic. I may ask you to open up your mic regardless, but let's get started. So this webinar, again, thank you for joining. This webinar is all about pricing your house, okay? So this is being recorded. The benefit of it being recorded is you'll be able to get back onto our website and you can see all the past recorded webinars on our website. We have webinars that are directed for buyers, and also webinars directed for sellers. So that's where you'll be able to see it. So I am Chris Creekmore. I am the owner of Creekmore Realty Group, also the team leader for a outstanding group of agents that are on my team. I have been doing this for 30 years. I started in land development in the great state of Tennessee, but the last 14 years I've been on the coast of North Carolina. I am a North Carolina native, however, started out in Okinawa, and as soon as I could get to North Carolina, we got here. My dad was in the service. Been doing this for a while. I've been with EXP brokerage for over 5 years now, or right at 5 years, and been an Icon agent with them ever since. My wife cannot join us tonight, Cindy. She never does. She wouldn't do this, but she's a beautiful, witty woman, and we have five grandkids. So just a little bit about me. Again, I am joined by several of my agents that are on the team, and they'll be filling in some answers to some questions along the way. So thank you so much for joining the webinar. I am a pricing strategy advisor, certified PSA, and again, been doing this for 30 years. But what we are passing on to you is some things to be aware of when you're pricing your house. This is not about after you get it under contract and negotiating the purchase of the house. That is for another webinar. This is about getting your house priced right. So if you've ever read the book, The Art of War, Sun Tzu has some interesting insight as it pertains to listing your house and getting your house priced right. So if Sun Tzu were alive, he would say something like, in real estate, time on the market is leverage. The longer a home sits, the more power shifts to the seller, or shifts to the buyer from the seller. So obviously, as a seller, you want that power in your corner. The days on the market isn't a metric, it's a signal. So the market is telling us something when we go beyond 21 days, beyond 60 days, whatever. So we're going to give you some strategies for that in this webinar. So your first impression, photos are certainly first impression. Your price is a first impression. The how the marketing is portrayed to the audience is a first impression. So you want to get it right. So an overpriced home risks aligning potential buyers or alienating potential buyers, leading to longer days on the market. An undervalued home would sell quicker, but possibly leaving money on the table. And your agent's goal, and part of this webinar, is to help you ask the right questions for your agent to make sure they are helping you find that sweet spot of maximizing the dollars, but not leaving any money on the table. So how does an agent typically do that? Okay. So the method matters in how they do it. Now, I can click a button and I can pull up a value of a house easily. But unless I have boots on the ground experience with that particular neighborhood, my market data will not be as valuable as the market data from an experienced agent that is familiar with your neighborhood or even your house. But we want to look at comparable sales. We want to look at the market data. We want to look at the condition of the home that you are selling. And in some cases, if your property is very remote, let's say, and we don't have very good market data, you may want to spend the money of getting a professional appraisal. On my team, we're pretty good at pricing houses. That is why I am a PSA, pricing strategy advisor. And Mark Hunter, who's on my team, has been doing this for 30 years. He has a lot of experience as well. So this is part of what we're going to arm you with is how to ask the right questions to make sure you get the right appraiser. So Zillow, 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 Zillow. Great on the surface, but it lacks local expert insight. That's why you use a boots on the ground real estate agent that has experience with your neighborhood. So what is a CMA? A CMA certainly looks at active properties. This is your current competition. It looks at properties that are under contract, your pending, and also sold properties. So when we dig deeper on the sold properties, we look at the history. What did it start at? What did it finish at? How many days on the market was it? Was it originally priced high, but it ultimately sold, say, 95% of what the asking or what the original list price says? So we look at this data. If you're not looking at the data and you're not pricing the property right, what ultimately happens, you take the property out off the market, or you get frustrated and it goes to expired, you withdraw the property. We want to eliminate that for you such that you don't have to go through the heartache of having to put the house back on the market. So there are several tools that we as a realtor, and as in some extent is available to you as a consumer, a home owner, that will help you price property. Zillow is not it, but we look at a realtor's value model, and we look at an automated model. These are just two of the tools, not all encompassing of the tools, but the data is not as good as the agent that can assess that data. So if I'm looking at my house, and let's say my house is in a particular community, and my house is mid-range of value of the properties, There's higher priced properties, there's lower priced properties, but my house has an exceptional feature that the other houses don't have. That could tilt my house up to a higher value. Just by pulling data, that doesn't do it. What you've got to do is have an experienced agent that knows your neighborhood intimately, knows your surrounding area intimately, has done several transactions in your neighborhood or your general community. So these tools that may be available to an agent are only as good as the agent that are using them. So as we go forward on this webinar, you'll see that I will arm you with some questions to ask your agent such that you are making sure you get the right agent. Because let's face it, this property that you're selling could possibly be the highest value asset that you have in your portfolio. So you want to get, it's not about getting Fred, who lives in your neighborhood, who's just a really, really good guy, or the guy that's in your neighborhood or lady that's in your neighborhood that hopefully they're really good people too, but they have market knowledge and experience to utilize these tools to get you the best assessed value of your property. I'm going to lean on, I'm going to go top to bottom on my screen. You guys may not see this, but John Hunter's on my team. Several people, hopefully you can see everybody that's on the team. But John, what would you add to that statement that the tools are only as good as the agent using them? You're muted. John, you're muted. John, you are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. So
sorry, I thought you guys were going to unmute me.
Yeah, I tried. So
sorry about that.
What would you add to that statement that the tools are only as good as the agent that are using them?
Yeah, no, and you bring up a good point. You're exactly right. As a local real estate broker, we have the inside knowledge and understanding and the innuendo of each community, whether the home's on sitting on water or not, whether it's on the golf course or not. But by being a boots on the ground agent in there, we understand the comparables better. And so that allows us to sharpen the pencil a little bit more and get a much more precise value for somebody's property.
Yeah, perfect. So I could come to your house, and let's say I'm just an agent. I could come to your house armed with some CMAs and some data, but unless I have working knowledge of your neighborhood, it may not be exactly accurate and may portray the wrong image or pricing of your property. So if you think of the stage of selling your house, ultimately getting it under contract within 21 days, you want the house to flow in price, staying at the surface of the water. So calling it the pond, okay? So best value, best price, things move along. You're going to get the house that is getting showings, that's getting agents that are calling you about the house. It's getting activity. If you start falling deeper into the pond where the water is not flowing as well, it could be a point where you're not getting as many showings or any showings at all. So if you start getting into that depth of the water, the pond, if you will, then you need to have a serious conversation with your agent, or your agent needs to have a serious conversation with you that we may need a price value correction. Typically, what turns ahead, what gets attention is somewhere between a 5 and 8% correction on your price. If you're hitting that 21-day mark, you've had no showings, or very, very few showings, and you're just not getting any activity, no offers whatsoever, then you may want to consider a much deeper price adjustment or taking the property off the market. So, as Sun Tzu would say, again, in real estate, as in war, the battle is often won before it begins. Homes that hesitate lose ground. Homes that move with speed command strength. What kind of strength are you going to gain? You're going to get less negotiation. You're going to get less requests for due diligence repairs. You're going to get less demands from the buyer. So think in terms of the flow of the pond. So as days on the market increase, again, just stating this a little bit more, as days on the market increase, buyer urgency decreases. Negotiation leverage shifts to the buyer. Price reductions become more expected. Inspections and repair demands increase. So you want to have a good, strong launch that will generate early interest, serious buyers, those that may be emotionally attached and engaged to purchasing the property. So these are the advantages, the clear, obvious advantages to listing your price right, or your property priced right. So the agent that is going to represent you and list your house, you want to ask them the questions that would have them answer what is their communication procedure. So we'll talk about this in a little bit greater detail. So the pre-launch, staging consultation, scheduling photography, MLS. So when the agent writes the MLS description of the property, you want the agent to review it with you to make sure they get it right. Talk about a broker open house, which we will get a little bit more detail in here in a moment. Before the house goes live, review the photography, make sure the photos are in order, make sure the photos have a description, make sure the MLS input, review that MLS input. Your agent should be preparing some marketing flyers that are in the house, and also marketing flyers that are promoted on social media. So you want to make sure that those descriptions are in the best frame of presenting your house. So when the after the house launches, again, communication is key. So after the house launches, are you getting, is your agent communicating with you every day on the first 72 hours? Sharing with you what the interest levels are, sharing with you what the feedback is from the people who viewed your house. What are the agents that are in your neighborhood, your area, that are looking at the listing? What are they saying? Conversations with the local agents. Is your agent giving you weekly updates, feedback? Are we now reviewing the CMA? We're been on the market for 7 days now. Has the CMA changed? If so, how? What analytic reports are they giving you based on what kind of marketing they're doing? Is it time for price strategy adjustment? So these are the kind of things that the communication has to be absolutely key, especially with your agent for the first 7 days. And again, what kind of analytics? Now, on our team, we use homes.com and our local MLS server, which is Hive, gives us list track. So these are analytics that we are providing our agent that is showing us how many views are we getting. So this particular house is getting 17,550 views, which is also getting display ads of 14,000 and also getting page views of 338. 2 people have saved that particular house. So again, asking your agent, are they providing you this kind of analytics? Are they doing any retargeting? And the retargeting will show you, okay, so ESPN, it was viewed 980 times on ESPN, or in this case, it would show the total retargeting is 1,571 and 336 site views. So what kind of analytics are your agents showing you? So just want to pause for a moment. Everybody that's watching this webinar, if you've not found your Q&A, which your Q&A should be somewhere down towards the bottom, if you have questions about things that we are discussing, please share with us what your questions are so that we can answer it. Again, we use these kind of analytics, and then we also have our database. Our CRM is a sync database. So Beth, as an example, Beth, who is on my team, Beth would take this particular house that we have in our listing. She would put it into our reverse prospecting, which we have in our database somewhere around 8,000 prospects in our database, and then it would share with us how many people that would be interested in that particular house. So then Beth on our team would then reach out, hey, Fred, we just have this house that just came on the market. It's only been on the market for 24 hours. I know at one point in time you were interested in Brunswick Forest and wanted to make you aware that this house was available. Are you still in the market for looking for a house? But these are the kind of questions that Beth would ask based on our reverse prospecting information. We also use that same reverse prospecting information through our local MLS, which is Hive. So our CRM and our MLS gives us this reverse prospecting. Again, just simply making you, the homeowner, aware, these are kind of things that you want to know from your agent, what kind of reverse prospecting, how proactive are they, or are they just simply listing the house, putting it on and doing some social media? Or are they actually contacting other agents? Are they contacting other neighbors in the community? So, Beth, in your experience, and if you'll unmute for a moment, in your experience, if you saw a somebody in your database, in this case it was James, that had a likely score that this 97 out of 100, 97 says this person has price, location, community, 12 matching factors. How excited would you be, Beth, to contact that lead and say, hey, we just listed Emily's house on the market. How excited would you be to call that lead?
Super excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're arming our agents with this kind of data based on our systems that we have in place. So again, asking your agent what kind of systems do they have in place. So we also are constantly reviewing our analytic data from our CRM, which is Hive. So we're looking at closed properties. We're looking at properties that are active, properties that are pending. So we're using all these tools, plus the fact that we are boots on the ground, know your community intimately, and hopefully your agent that you're working with knows the communities intimately. So the question of home staging. Should I stage my home? My house, I'm moving out. Taking all my furniture with me. Should I stage my house? Or I can't move my furniture out, and my furniture may be a little dated. What can I do to give my house a better appearance? because home staging will help buyers emotionally connect to the house, increase perceived value, help buyers better visualize a vacant house, creates also online first impression images of your house. So Beth, if you are taking a client to a house that is staged versus unstaged, how much more work is it for you to present a better picture if the house is empty, let's say?
Are you saying we go into a house that's staged already?
No, let's say you take a buyer into a listing and that house is empty.
Oh,
So what kind of dialogue are you having with your prospective buyer walking into an empty house versus a house that is staged?
well, fortunately, I did home staging years back. So I generally try to help them see where the furniture could go. If they're not getting new furniture, a lot of people are just getting rid of their old furniture if they're moving to a new city and getting new furniture, but just kind of letting them visualize where a table would go, or the sofa, coffee table, all of that would go and fit. And it generally helps them understand, especially also if the walls are colored a color they're not crazy about. Some buyers have trouble seeing past that color. To
And
kind of help
although
them
that's
say,
one of the most simplest fix is
yes, it
to
is
do
a very
that.
simple fit, but I've had tons of buyers that just can't get past the color without us having a really good conversation on it. This is a super simple fix.
So sometimes the doors just shut. They can't get past
Occasionally,
it.
yeah.
So you want to have your house professionally staged if you can. Now we'll talk a little bit about virtual staging because that's another option that you can take if you don't want to spend the money to get the house professionally staged. Now, there's two kinds of staging. Also, well, three kinds of staging. You put new furniture in there, or you take what kind of furniture you have, declutter, kind of put some new pictures on the wall, use what you've got to give it a better look, a fresher look, more like what we're seeing on the bottom right corner. So somebody with a keen eye like Beth can help you with that.
Yeah, I've done that in a lot of homes with the sellers, just rearranging the way the furniture sits or the placement of it and giving it some flow. And it really does work, even if it's old furniture.
Yes. So we call it to a degree repositioning. So you're repositioning the house, giving it a new, fresh, more modern look rather than they've been in that house for 20 years. So just statistically, what does it mean for a seller to stage a house? Significantly reduces days on market, somewhere between 50 and 73%. Half of the agents would tell you that staging the house makes a significant distance. Again, going to Sun Tzu, speed, getting that house sold, because the longer your house is on the market, moves towards the buyer's advantage. So 80 to 85% of the agents would agree staging the house is something that is worth doing. Open houses. So do open houses really work? Now, Karen and Margie, who are on my team that are here on the panel, have extensive experience with open houses. So do they work? Yes, they work to a degree, but not to actually find the end user of the house in most cases. So creates good visibility. It creates market feedback, early on market feedback, so you can make an adjustment quickly. This is if you do that open house within the first 7 to 10 days. Ideally, if you list on a Friday, you have an open house on either Friday or Saturday. Well, I say list, but your listing goes active. So, but it does fall in favor also of the experienced agent who maybe that house is not right for them, but that agent captures their contact information and they can help them move into or help them find the right house. What a open house does not do is it does not replace a pricing strategy. This goes back earlier on, having the right conversation with your agent about pricing the house. But it also does not typically create the final buyer of the house. So, Karen, in your experience with open houses, what do you see the biggest advantage of an open house for the seller, not necessarily for the agent?
Mm-hmm. I would say, one of the strong points there is feedback, because, consumer feedback is really important when you're selling your home, and that can help your agent address things that maybe aren't a popular choice. Maybe a table in the foyer makes it feel small or cramped, and that's something that you're hearing as people come through. When as an agent that's working the open house, you're just on high alert, right? You're trying to absorb all of the energy of the folks that are coming through, but also their conversation and talking amongst one another and what they like and what they don't like. So that feedback, I think, is mostly important. Also, just that exposure to on the market, and whether it's your neighbors, a lot of times, nosy neighbors will come, and but you never know. Like, you might have a neighbor that wants their good friends to move to the area, and so it helps to generate interest in a way. But like you said, ultimately, if you had the statistics, it probably open houses don't always bring that final buyer.
But it creates the opportunity for the listing agent to say to the neighbors in that, let's say there's 15 houses in the neighborhood. It creates the listing opportunity the opportunity for the listing agent to call all 15 people in that neighborhood to say, hey, just wanted to let you know we're going to have an open house for 123 Fox Run. Would love for you to stop by. But also, if you know somebody that may be interested in moving into your neighborhood or even a relative, we would love for you to bring them. It creates an opportunity for that agent to have that dialogue. So very, very good point, Karen. So marketing of your property, marketing that sells your property. So we've talked a little bit about staging, but let's say you don't have the luxury of getting some furniture in there. We do virtual staging as well. So this living room for this house right here, this is virtual staging. That furniture did not exist, but it presents a good presentation to somebody who's searching on Realtor.com, Zillow.com, or whatever website that they're looking at. So one of the things that we do at Creekmore Realty Group, not a lot of teams will do this, but we also do virtual tours. So you can go back onto our YouTube channel, which you'll see links to all of that to get ideas of how does a virtual tour work. But we do on YouTube, Facebook, it's called a live stream virtual tour of the house. Now, there are also other ways to do it. Matterport, if you've never heard of Matterport, but Matterport is a 3D virtual tour. Photographer comes in, sets up the camera in each room, and does a 3D visual of the property. YouTube videos. YouTube is a big time marketing way for selling homes. This is a question you want to ask your agent. Are you marketing on YouTube? And if the agent says, "Oh, I'm afraid to be on YouTube. I really don't like to be on camera." Okay, next, I'm going to talk to somebody else. So YouTube, if you don't know this, YouTube is Google. So the same keyword search that goes into Google is the same keyword search for YouTube. In fact, YouTube statistically is the largest search engine out there. It's actually surpassed by Google, although Google owns it. Email marketing, we do a lot of e-flyers, which I'll share a little bit more detail, but we do a lot of email marketing and social media marketing. So because there's been changes in the National Association of Realtor and the way realtors do business, Margie, I'll ask you this question. So if you have a client that's interested in buying a house in XYZ neighborhood, you're going to want to open up your mic. And one of the questions that you would ask for that listing agent is the seller offering any compensation? So how would you go about having that dialogue? You've got a client that wants to look at 3 houses. How would you go about having that conversation with your buyer? I mean, the listing agents.
Well, first, the conversation is with the buyer, because they do sign a buyer agency agreement. And typically, it does state in there what our fee is. However, when we first make the appointment, or even before we make the appointment to see the home, I will usually call the listing agent and ask them, what is your seller offering, or is your seller offering a compensation to the buyer's agent? And most of the time, it's yes, and it's this amount of money. And 9.5 times out of 10, it is exactly what we charge. So there is really nothing that the buyer has to come to the table with to make up the difference for our compensation. In our market, we are still seeing sellers pay a buyer agent commission.
So if that's articulated to you in advance, it makes things a little bit easier for you. You've had the dialogue with your buyer client, and you have scheduled 3 houses to look, and the listing agent has already articulated with you what that seller compensation is. It makes the total presentation a little bit easier. If you've ever been into Dollar General and they've got cases of water for sale at $3, but they've got other things stacked on top of it, and you've got to move the stacks of everything else in order to get to what you want to buy, then maybe you don't even buy those reduced price bottles of water. This may not be the exact a very good scenario, but make it easy. Is your agent making it easy for the consumer? You, as the selling agent, are you making it easy for the consumer? So what we do at Creekmore Realty Group, we do it every week for all our listings. We send out what the seller cooperation is to our sphere of influence with all our active agents that we work with. That's something that we do. So the conversation with, if you as a seller are going to offer compensation to entice a buyer agent to bring an agent to see your house, how is that listing agent going to articulate that to the buyer? Social media posts, we do just listed posts on a frequency basis, pricing reduction, open house, just closed. That's another opportunity that the listing agent would do if they just listed a house, they would contact the people in the neighborhood. We just listed it. Or if we just did a price reduction, they would contact people in that neighborhood. Hey, just wanted to let you know, we just reduced the price by $5,000. Do you know anybody that may be interested in that house? What kind of proactive activity is your listing agent doing based on the stage of your house? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all these things are doing. A good agent would do, but also trying to engage dialogue with those that are watching the social media. by asking provocative questions to get feedback and a conversation on social media. What kind of flyers are going into the house? Are they professionally done? Just for your knowledge, when you list a house, it goes on what's called an IDX feed. And that IDX feed is typically broadcast to somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 other different feeds. That does not include retargeting. Retargeting would be something that an agent would do that is on homes.com or some other retargeting service we do, Creekmore Realty Group does, because we are Homes Pro. So asking the question, do you do any retargeting? Is it syndicated? Because some services are not syndicated. So you want to ask that question. Okay, so here we're down to the meat of interviewing an agent to list your house. So you want to ask the question because you want to choose the right listing agent. What experience and track record do they have? How long have they been selling real estate? And is this their full-time occupation? Pricing strategy. They came with a CMA. Ask them, how did you come up with this price that you're suggesting that we sell the house for? How will you adjust the pricing if we don't get expected interest in the first 7 days, 10 days, 21 days? Marketing exposure. What is your marketing plan? If you go onto our website, Creekmore Realty Group, and you go on to Seller Tools and you look at List with Us, our marketing plan is right there. It's listed for you. You can read it. You can download it. You can see it. So ask your agent, what is their marketing plan? What kind of paid advertising do you do? Like homes.com is a paid service that we as Creekmore Realty Group, we do. What is your communication strategy with me as a seller? My first 7 days, my first 10 days. Process and accountability. What kind of services are included with your listing service? Some agents will, if you list with me, I will pay for a cleaning of your house before you move out. If you list with me, I'll pay for a consultation with a first 2 hours for a staging professional stager. Deep dive questions. What makes you different from any other agent that I may interview? They may be perplexed by answering that question, or they can answer that like that. How do we handle a pricing adjustment if we're not getting the right marketing feedback? Now, this is just a short list of questions. So everybody that's been on this webinar, obviously we have your email. So, and thank you again for getting onto this webinar. We will email you this full list of questions that you should be asking your agent to make sure you get the right agent. So these webinars that we have buyer webinars and seller webinars, and we also have special events. So if you do go onto our website, which we hope you do, creekmorerealtygroup.com or retiretto.nc.com, then these webinars are actually hosted on our website. The recorded ones, as well as the upcoming webinars, will be listed on there. So I want to thank everyone who got on to this webinar. If you have any questions, now would be a great time to open up the floor for any questions that you may have. And again, thank you for joining. Thank you also for my agent panel that has joined us here tonight in lieu of maybe eating dinner, getting onto this webinar. So thank you for those. Any questions from anybody that may be on this webinar? We'd love to have them. If not, again, we will have a regular webinars. We do our seller webinars the fourth Thursday of the month, and we do our buyer webinars that are on the second Thursday of the month at 6:30 at this time. So again, this webinar is recorded. You can pull out your phone right now and take a picture of this screen to get our contact information. But we're grateful that you've taken the, not sure how many minutes we've been on this webinar, but we are grateful for those of you that have joined us to watch this webinar. Again, we are Creekmore Realty Group. We are at the coast of North Carolina. We do specialize in all the planned active amenitized developments here at the coast. We also do help people with vacation property, investment property, beach property. We've got a great team that can help you with that. So if there are no questions, again, thank you for watching and joining. And please go on to our website, Creekmore Realty Group, and you will see all these webinars and a lot more information that's on there. So thank you, everyone that has joined. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone.